Welcome everyone. Today, we delve into the remarkable journey of Joe Frazier. From his early days in Philadelphia to his ascent as a boxing icon, and his impact both in the sport and beyond, there's a wealth of stories to explore about this extraordinary athlete. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up so that YouTube can recommend it to more viewers. Let's jump right in. About Joe Frazier's early life. Frazier was born January 12, 1944, the 12th child of Dolly Alston-Frazier and Rubin in Beaufort, South Carolina. He was raised in Laurel Bay, South Carolina, a rural community in Beaufort County, South Carolina. Frazier said that he was always close to his father, who carried him when he was a toddler over the 10 acres of farmland. The Fraziers worked as sharecroppers, to the still where he made his bootleg corn liquor, and into town on Saturdays to buy the necessities that a family of 10 needed. He was affectionately called Billie Boy. Rubin Frazier had his left hand and part of his forearm amputated in a tractor accident the year that his son was born. Rubin Frazier and his wife, Dolly, had been in their car when their friend Arthur Smith, who was drunk, made a move for Dolly but was rebuffed. Stephen Gallucci, a local barkeep, recounted the experience. When the Fraziers drove away, Smith fired at them several times and hit Dolly in the foot and Rubin several times in his arm. Smith was convicted and sent to prison but did not stay long. Dolly said, "If you were a good workman, the white man took you out of jail and kept you busy on the farm." Frazier's parents worked their farm with 2 mules, Buck and Jenny. The farmland was what country people called white dirt, which is another way of saying it isn't worth a damn. They could not grow peas or corn on it, only cotton and watermelons. About Joe Frazier's introduction to boxing. In the early 1950s, Joe Frazier's family bought a TV, attracting locals to watch boxing matches. Frazier's uncle, impressed by his stocky build, predicted he'd become a great boxer, like Joe Louis. This inspired young Frazier, who, after being bullied, filled a burlap sack with rags, corn cobs, a brick, and moss to make a heavy bag, hitting it daily for hours. About Joe Frazier's early work. At 15, Frazier worked on a farm where he witnessed and reported the abuse of a black boy by a white man. After a confrontation, Frazier realized he needed to leave Beaufort. Saving up, he worked at a Coca-Cola plant before moving to Philadelphia in 1959. About Joe Frazier's departure for Philadelphia. Frazier moved north without fanfare and settled in Philadelphia. He described his departure as climbing on a bus and riding through the night, marking the start of his new life at 15. About Joe Frazier's career. Amateur boxing. Frazier won Golden Gloves heavyweight championships in 1962, 1963, and 1964, with only one loss to Buster Mathis. At the 1964 U.S. Olympic trials, Mathis again defeated Frazier, who felt he was unfairly judged. Despite this, Frazier went to Tokyo as an alternate, where he trained diligently, unlike Mathis. About Joe Frazier's 1964 Summer Olympics. In Tokyo, Frazier replaced an injured Mathis, winning against opponents from Uganda, Australia, and the Soviet Union, despite injuring his thumb. In the final, he fought German Hans Huber with a damaged hand but won a 3-2 decision, earning a gold medal. Let's begin with professional career. Frazier turned professional in 1965, winning his first fight by knockout. Despite a training accident leaving him blind in his left eye, he continued to fight, cleverly evading detection of his injury during medical exams. In 1966, Durham contacted trainer Eddie Futch, who eventually joined Frazier's team and refined his style, emphasizing a bob-and-weave defense. About Joe Frazier's mid to late 1960s. Frazier's career accelerated in 1966 with a close win over Oscar Bonavena and a notable victory over George Chuvalo. By 1967, Frazier had 14 wins and appeared on the cover of Ring magazine. He declared his challenge to Muhammad Ali, who was soon stripped of his title for draft refusal. Frazier then won against Buster Mathis in a match sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission, staking his claim to the heavyweight title. About Joe Frazier's laying claims. Frazier defended his NYSAC claim by defeating Manuel Ramos and Oscar Bonavena. He also won against Dave Zyglewicz and Jerry Quarry, the latter earning the 1969 Ring magazine Fight of the Year. About Joe Frazier's World Championship win. On February 16, 1970, Frazier faced Jimmy Ellis at Madison Square Garden, winning by a technical knockout after Ellis's trainer stopped the fight. Frazier retained his title by defeating Bob Foster in 2 rounds and then faced Muhammad Ali in the fight of the century, winning a 15-round unanimous decision. About Joe Frazier's fight of the century, first fight versus Ali. On March 8, 1971, Frazier and Ali met in a highly publicized bout. Frazier, in peak form, won by unanimous decision, despite Ali's tough performance. Both fighters were hospitalized after the fight. About Joe Frazier's title loss to George Foreman. On January 22, 1973, Frazier lost his title to George Foreman in a bout where he was knocked down 6 times, resulting in a technical knockout in the second round. Frazier continued to fight, defeating Joe Bugner and later losing a non-title fight to Ali in 1974. About Joe Frazier's Thrilla in Manila, third Ali fight. On October 1, 1975, Frazier faced Ali in the Thrilla in Manila. After a grueling fight, Frazier's trainer stopped the match before the 15th round due to Frazier's severe injuries. About Joe Frazier's second fight with Foreman. In 1976, Frazier fought Foreman again, but after 2 knockdowns, the fight was stopped in the 5th round. He briefly retired afterward. About Joe Frazier's 1980s comeback and career as trainer. Frazier attempted a comeback in 1981, drawing with Floyd "Jumbo" Cummings, and then retired for good. He trained his children, Marvis and Jackie, who pursued boxing careers. About Joe Frazier's other work. Frazier appeared in movies and TV shows, including Rocky and The Simpsons. He released his autobiography and a boxing instructional book. Despite financial difficulties, he remained involved in boxing, training young fighters in Philadelphia. About Joe Frazier's relationship with Muhammad Ali. Initially friends, Frazier's relationship with Ali soured due to Ali's derogatory remarks. Ali's comments caused Frazier significant personal distress, but they had moments of reconciliation before Frazier's death in 2011. About Joe Frazier's philanthropic work. During his tenure at Bellarmine University, Frazier played a crucial role in developing programming, training, pipeline and retention initiatives, and conferences related to diversity and inclusion through student and faculty outreach. Efforts to memorialize Frazier have also gained momentum. The city of Philadelphia plans to erect a statue in his honor at the sports complex in South Philadelphia. Additionally, there is a campaign to designate the North Philadelphia gym where he trained as a National Historic Site. About Joe Frazier's personal life. Frazier married Florence Smith in September 1963, and the couple had 5 children together before their marriage ended in 1985. He also had a relationship with a woman named Rosetta, with whom he had 2 more children. His son, Marvis Frazier, followed in his footsteps and became a professional boxer. At the time of his death on November 7, 2011, Joe Frazier was survived by Denise Menz, his partner of 40 years, and a total of 11 children. In his later years, Frazier faced personal tragedies, including the loss of his son Marvis, who was also a boxer. Additionally, health issues, such as diabetes and the toll of his rigorous boxing career, affected his well-being. These challenges served as stark reminders of the sacrifices he made in pursuit of greatness. Despite these difficulties, Joe Frazier's legacy extends beyond the boxing ring, and his impact on the sport remains enduring. About Joe Frazier's death. Frazier was diagnosed with liver cancer in late September 2011. By November 2011, he was under hospice care in Philadelphia, where he died on November 7 at the age of 67. Upon hearing of Frazier's death, Muhammad Ali said, "The world has lost a great champion. I will always remember Joe with respect and admiration." On November 14, Frazier's private funeral was held at Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church in Philadelphia and was attended by Muhammad Ali, Don King, Larry Holmes, Magic Johnson, Dennis Rodman, his friends and family, and others. Floyd Mayweather Jr. paid for Frazier's funeral services. His body was buried at the Ivy Hill Cemetery in Philadelphia, a short drive from the Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. A statue of Frazier was commissioned from sculptor Lawrence Nolan. Nolan died unexpectedly, and ultimately a statue sculpted by Philadelphia sculptor Stephen Lane was erected at Xfinity Live, Philadelphia in 2015. About Joe Frazier's house. Frazier's early life was spent in a simple home with 11 siblings, where their house was elevated to prevent flooding. Beyond boxing, Frazier pursued musical interests and, in the late 1970s, formed a soul-funk group called Joe Frazier and the Knockouts. They toured extensively in the US and Europe, including performances in Ireland. Despite his achievements and being one of Philadelphia's greatest fighters, Frazier was never officially honored by his adopted home during his lifetime. His legacy, however, continues to endure both in the ring and beyond. Thank you for joining us today as we explored the multifaceted career and life of Joe Frazier. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. See you in the next video.